Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another live stream on Friday evening, in which we'll be talking about yacht broker business and various details. Hello, first of all, to Rudy Degelt, who's a faithful follower and is here for all of the live streams so far. Rudy, you sent me a photograph on by direct message on Instagram of the Yachts for Sale I Like Big Boats mug. So thanks. I received that. I'm going to put it on Instagram along with a couple of others as well in the very near future. So very much appreciated. Just as with the last live stream, I'm going to take the advice of my videographers who've recommended that I just talk a little bit for a few minutes before I get into the main substance of the live stream. That'll give time for people to join the live stream and to to get engaged with it as well. This week we'll be talking about the M.O.A. We'll be talking about what it is, why it's so important, a few more details of it. After that, of course, there's an opportunity for you to ask as many questions as you want. If they're on topic, that's welcome. If they're off topic, that's fine as well. I'll do my best to answer them. Live super chats are always very, very much welcome. And I'll do my best to give as thorough an answer as I can to any questions from a super chat. Gabriel, hi Gabriel, thanks. Nose looks better. Actually, I had the stitches out today. I don't want to go into too many details because it's a bit gory, but tonight I'm going to take this off, and hopefully within a few days it'll start to look a lot better. Also, before we start on the main theme of this evening's live stream, which is just talking about the memorandum of agreement for buying a yacht, and we'll be talking about that for no more than 10 minutes. I can give you some hot off the press great news, which is that we're back in action with filming again. So Tuesday afternoon I'll be filming the next episode of Silent Yachts. You may remember that I started a documentary a few months ago covering the construction of the Silent 80. Well, I was down at the shipyard last week. This week on Tuesday we're going to be filming, so within about a week to 10 days of filming, that video will be published on the Yachts for Sale channel. More exciting than that though, on Tuesday I'm flying to Holland and we'll be filming the final episode covering Ragnar. Now, if you've not seen the Ragnar videos, you really need to. That's a 68-meter Explorer yacht, the most amazing design. The yacht's now launched, ready for delivery, and I'm so happy to say I've been invited to film the final installment following the construction of that yacht too. So all good news. After that, I'll be going to Benetti to film a few more bits and pieces for them. After that, I'm going to Croatia. We've got some more things to film in Croatia, so we're very much back in action, back filming, back traveling, which is really exciting. I'll tell you what, I'll answer Gabriel's question before I get into the actual meat of the live stream. Gabriel says, a question regarding new builds. In mercantile marine, the company sends mechanics and naval architects to monitor the build. Why in yachts they send the captain? Actually, they send the captain, but they also send mechanics and naval architect, I mean surveyors basically. You have what's called a project manager, which is you have a project manager for the shipyard, but also the buyer of the yacht will send his own project manager, and that's somebody with immense experience in all kinds of aspects of building a yacht, and they in turn will bring in specialists for things like the paint. The paint's the one that springs to mind, but there's all kinds of specialists that they may bring in as well. So yeah, the captain's there because they have a say in navigational instruments, crew matters, and he needs to understand the nuts and bolts of the yacht, but they also send in specialists too. Super Yacht Captain's joined us. He says, hi Rudy, Super Yacht Captain, 100,000 subscribers today. Definitely deserves a round of applause. Tristan, I'm so happy for you, and I know what that feels like. It's a lot of work to get to 100,000 subscribers and amazingly satisfying. So I'm so pleased for you. I'm so pleased. I'm going to move your mug because I'm hiding it. So I'm going to put it in sight. And to help Tristan celebrate 100,000 subscribers today, you can buy one of his mugs. I can see from his emojis he's super happy. Let's get into the meat of this live stream, and then we can look at a few questions. And this live stream is specifically to talk about the M.O.A. And in the very, very few notes that I put in the description of this live stream before going live, I said that it's one of the most important documents that any yacht broker should have. And that's because it's the document that comes into play when you've sold a yacht. M.O.A. is the Memorandum of Agreement. Most of us would simply call it a contract, but yacht people like to be posh, so they've given it a different name with an acronym, an M.O.A. And I'd just like to briefly go through with you the main points of that M.O.A. for those of you who are interested in becoming a yacht broker or are just fascinated by how it all works. The M.O.A. that we use in the Med has been put together by an organization called M.O.A. That's the Mediterranean Yacht Brokers Association. And they've done a really excellent job. They got together some of the top and most successful brokers and law firms and worked for a long time to put together a document that's a really excellent document for selling yachts in the Med. If you've watched my series of how to buy a yacht videos, you'll know they use a slightly different contract in the United States. I honestly prefer the one in the Med because I find it a more balanced contract where it looks after the interests of the buyer and of the seller. The one in the US, which maybe we'll discuss another time when I'm with an American broker, is far more defensive of the rights of the buyer. In the United States, you can put money down to buy a boat and get that money back almost at any point in the proceeding. In the Med, if you use the M.O.A. M.O.A., it's not that simple at all. And let me just talk you through some of the main points. I've got a copy of this document in front of me, and I'll just take you through the basic elements of the M.O.A. M.O.A. Obviously, as you can imagine, you need to know what the yacht is. So there's details of the yacht and its registered number and its flag and where it's lying. There's details of who the buyer is. There's details of who the seller is. But you may not know, there's also details of who the brokers are. You do need to have the brokers' details put into this document. So, people who just try to take a sly backhander and get a commission without letting the buyer or the seller know, it's not so easy with this contract, because you do have to be transparent in who's buying as the buyer, who's selling as the seller, but also which brokers are representing those people. Obviously, the sales price is in it, and there's provision for a 10% deposit. Now, the moment you get a 10% deposit from somebody, you know they're pretty serious. Even what yacht brokers would consider a small yacht of €1 million, that's still a €100,000 deposit, and nobody's going to put that down unless they've got quite some substance behind them. So from a broker's perspective, that's something you're really working towards to get that deposit. Now, once the deposit has been paid and the contract, the M.O.A. has been signed, that gives the buyer the right to a sea trial and a survey of the vessel, which on the contract, there are very specific dates. He has to have that sea trial within a certain date. He has to have the survey within a certain date. And it's actually quite important, if possible, that the sea trial comes before the survey. Now, there's a reason for that. And the reason is that according to this contract, the buyer has the right to withdraw from the contract and have his money back, get the deposit back, for any reason whatsoever within 24 hours of the sea trial. He can literally come on board and say, you know what, I've changed my mind, and have his money back. Now, after that deposit, he has to pay the expenses of the sea trial, which can be, the fuel, or if the owner, the sellers had to take on special crew specifically for the sea trial, he's going to have to pay that out of his deposit, but he'll get 99% probably of the deposit he'll get back. By the way, if you are a broker or you're thinking of getting into brokerage and you're listening to this, that's really important to let your buyer know that. Communication is absolutely key. And you don't want to be in a situation where all you've told the buyer is he can get his money back, and you haven't mentioned that he will have to pay the costs. It's a straightforward and a reasonable request, but it's always good to spell it out to your client if that's the case. Now, 24 hours pass, and if he doesn't reject the vessel, he's now into his survey period. And the survey is a far more onerous process. He has to get a qualified marine surveyor down to the yacht. 9 times out of 10, they'll lift the yacht out of the water. So basically, you've sea trialed, you've now come back into port, you've accepted it, the boat is lifted out of the water. That has some expense to it, to doing that. And as the buyer, you have to pay for that. They're going to look at the bottom. They might take some soundings. They want to make sure that nothing is falling off of the bottom. As ridiculous as it sounds, I've seen that happen. I've seen big chunks of fiberglass fall off the bottom of boats and all kinds of fittings missing. I've seen a stabilizer fin missing from a yacht when it was surveyed. It's really advisable to have it lifted. Sometimes when it's not possible for some reason or another, they'll send divers down. That's a good second best, but it is a second best. It's far better to lift the yacht. The surveyor will have been on the sea trial. He'll want to make sure that winches work, that the anchor works. He'll look at drainage from the showers. So he'll probably go into all the bathrooms and run the showers, make sure everything's draining properly. He'll make sure pumps are working, air conditioning's working. He might take sound readings. Particularly with more modern yachts, claims are made as to how many decibels can be heard in various parts of the yacht. If that's important to the buyer, he may go and verify that. It's the opportunity that the buyer has to really know what he's getting into. Now, a really, really important point on this subject is that if you as a broker are representing the seller, you really need to be transparent. Most buyers know that yachts are ongoing projects. In fact, Tristan, who is listening in, he'll be able to tell you that any yacht, his San Lorenzo A1, I'm sure, has always got a list of jobs that need to be done on board. And some of those jobs will be repair work and maintenance work. It's the nature of owning a luxury yacht. As a broker, don't hide any of that from the seller. I've often put the seller in front of the captain and said to the captain, be honest, we want to know everything that's wrong. And the reason for that is because if a buyer knows that the problems that a yacht has before he makes the offer on the yacht, he can't then try to chip the price down after the survey saying, this pump doesn't work, the air conditioning is not working, it needs a repaint, a stabilizer fin's missing. Because if you've told him that beforehand and he's made the offer's been made in the knowledge of those things. So honesty and transparency certainly pay in the long run in the yacht brokerage business. Don't try to hide those things, because all that's going to do is it's going to annoy the buyer, and then it's going to annoy the seller when the buyer tries to chip down in price according to the problems. The only reason that a buyer can reject the vessel outright, though, is if there's something serious that affects the seakeeping and the structural integrity of the yacht. If there are smaller problems, it's expected that between the buyer and the seller and the broker, an agreement should be found financially. But they can't just say, you know what, there's a scratch on the woodwork there that I didn't know about. The gel coat has started to go dull. I'm rejecting the yacht, because you know what? Those things do not affect the use of the yacht. You can still go to sea. You can still enjoy it. So you have 24 hours after sea trial to reject the yacht for no reason at all. But you have 7 days after the survey to accept or reject. And if you reject it, you have to have very, very, very strong reasons. You can't just reject it on a whim. Otherwise, you forfeit your deposit. And I've been involved with those deals where that's happened, and it's got nasty and it's got legal, and I fought on behalf of my client, who's the seller, and we've got that deposit because the contract is pretty binding. It's a very, very strong contract. And just for your information, if you're thinking of being a broker, the deposit is then split down the middle. Half is given to the seller, and the other half goes to the brokers as their commission, because effectively the brokers have sold the yacht. The yacht was sold, their service was rendered. If some guy pulls out of the deal with no good reason, they're still entitled to a commission. So of course it's a reduced commission because now 10% is forfeited, 5 of that goes to the seller, and the brokers have to split the other 5%. So they take less of a commission, but that's where that money goes. Another point before I conclude that I think is very important is that it's very, very important to have the crew cooperate during the process of purchasing and selling a yacht, because one of the important documents that needs to be knuckled down very, very quickly is an inventory of the vessel. If you're buying a yacht, you do want to know what's coming with it. Do you get the jet skis, or is the owner going to keep the jet skis? What about the towels, the linen, so I've seen yachts that have had hundreds of thousands of euros worth of plateware and crystalware. Does that go with the yacht, or is the owner going to keep it? Those things need to be agreed upon at a very, very early stage, especially when there are items of great value on board the yacht. Generally speaking, everything goes with the yacht, except for obviously owners' possessions, photographs, personal things. Works of art are normally taken off. But generally speaking, glassware, chinaware and such like goes with the yacht itself. But you'll need the captain to get together with the owner and write up a very thorough inventory. It's a pain in the neck for the captain to do. Some captains groan and moan, and Tristan, I hope you don't mind me saying this, but sometimes they really don't want to get it done. But it has to be done. It's an essential part, and it's something that you need the captain's cooperation with, right down to spare parts. Everything needs to be put down there. I mean, you don't need to say 12 fish knives, 12 fish forks, 12 steak knives. It's enough to say a complete set of cutlery for 12, but it does need to be quite a thorough inventory. So those are the basic parameters of the M.O.A. that sells a yacht in the Med. Actually, it'd be kind of cool. I'm really hoping in the future to be able to bring in some American colleagues onto these live streams, and we can maybe go through an American contract too. I can see questions coming in already, and already a super chat from a new listener. This is a new name to me. Stevens Otro. You've super chatted me, and I'm very, very grateful, but I don't see a question that goes with the super chat. So thank you very much. It's very, very much appreciated. If you want to add a question, I shall do my best to answer it very thoroughly. Another super chat from Moon Chowdhury, which is another new name to me. Thank you very much, Moon. I'm glad to have you here, and Stevens here as well. Welcome to the live stream. Moon says, hey David, can you please go through some pros and cons of converting commercial ships to explorer yachts? Would please do some vlog on this matter. That's not only a great question, it's a great idea. And I don't know if you were here at the beginning of the live stream, but when I was kind of rambling at the start of this live stream, waiting for more people to join, I was telling the viewers that actually I'm going to Holland next week to film the final video in a series of videos following the construction of Ragnar, which is a 68-meter explorer yacht that's a conversion from a support vessel, a commercial support vessel. I'm so excited about it because I've done all the other videos in the series showing how it's built. And it looked like I wouldn't be able to do the last one because, now obviously the owner's getting involved and and eager to take it away, and there's captains and there's a management company. It looked like I wouldn't get the chance to do the last one, but now my flights are booked and I'll be filming that. With regard to filming a vlog, I think I'd be more inclined to film. I consider a vlog to be a little bit sort of fast, cheap as far as getting the video done behind my desk, just filming something. I'd much rather do a complete production and maybe go to Icon, who are the specialists in exactly this, which is where I'll be next week. And let's get a proper film done. Do you know what also may be an interesting idea would be to live stream from with the people at Icon. I won't be able to do it next week because the timing's so very tight. But I promise you, Moon, that I will talk to Icon about that because I think it's a great idea. And let me see what we can do, because it's a fascinating part of the industry. It's a part of the industry I really love because it's ingenious and a little bit different. So yeah, thanks very much for the suggestion. I will certainly follow up on it. David Dillon, thanks David for the super chat, and for being a regular viewer. Hope you don't mind a little critique, but you appear murky. Do you know, I know, and I don't know why that is. Might need to clean the lens. You're absolutely right. Love the video and thanks for the information. Bear with me. What about this for immediate response? I have in my drawer here a proper lens cleaner. I've got no idea where the lens is on this side. Well, look at that. David, you're a genius. Do you know what I think it is? I think it's because I've been out and about today, and I had the camera in my pocket, and I think because it's been pouring with rain in Italy, I think that it must have just messed it up. I feel so stupid now, but thanks, David. No sooner said than done. That does look an awful lot better. Let's see, and you also paid me to give me good advice. You paid me $10 super chat, so double thanks for that. Let's see what other questions we've got. For those of you that don't know regarding my nose, actually this morning I had the stitches taken out. I won't go into too many details on that, but this is really just there to protect it from any further damage. And tomorrow I'm going to take this off, so you'll have to see me with somewhat of a scar on my nose, but that's the way it is. I don't think people watch my channel for my beauty anyway. It was more for the information, so I'll just be a little bit uglier than I was before. Scrolling down, Super Yacht Captain, really looking forward to the Ragnar video. I'm looking forward to it as well, and let's do this. If Ragnar appears in one of the boat shows, whenever the next boat shows may be, let's get together and take a look around it. Videoing it is being somewhat of a challenge, Tristan, and at one point I was told I probably wouldn't be able to do the final video, but now they've booked my flights. I'm going over there. We have one day to film the whole boat, which is not ideal. I would love to have taken a full 3 days doing a proper thing, but it's better than nothing, and I think it's going to be a great video. Another super chat. Thank you so much. Rudy, super chat, and he says, Tristan, you found a new crew to clean AWOL. There's an inside joke there that I don't understand, but I'm sure Tristan's going to respond to it. Ryan Lowy says, what is the best Benetti yacht? Ryan, just prior to this live stream, I was on the phone with Benetti, and I'll be going there in 2 weeks' time, all being well, to film the Benetti Diamond, which is a 43-meter yacht. As far as Benettis go, one of their most successful yachts was the 35-meter Classic that then became a 37-meter Classic. It's a personal favorite of mine only because I just think it's such a clever boat in terms of the dimensions. But the 43-meter Diamond, I'm looking forward to seeing, and I'll be able to give you an answer. But yeah, I'd have to say for me, without going into the big custom Benettis made of steel and aluminium, which I think even Benetti wouldn't mind me saying, quality-wise, are probably going to be a step above the composite ones, such as the Classic. But as far as the composite Benetti goes, yeah, I like the Classic very, very much indeed. Yacht Boy, what a great name. What a fantastic name. Explorer yachts are becoming fashionable, which for lifelong Explorer yacht fans like myself is great news. Yeah, I agree. And Yacht Boy, it's interesting listening to the comments that come onto my channel about Explorer yachts. People sometimes feel that an Explorer yacht has to have ice-breaking hull and all kinds of stuff. It really doesn't. You can explore the world in a composite yacht without having to go into the ice. There's all the key to an Explorer yacht for me is the range. It needs to have good range and good volume, because if you're going to you think of an Explorer yacht as something you're going to spend extended times on board, you need space for provisioning and stores, and it's great as well to be able to have more toys on an Explorer yacht. Great if you can have a helicopter pad, because that'll allow you to sort of explore the area that you're around. And I agree with you, it's great that they're becoming fashionable. Some of them are more rugged explorer than others, but it's just a good trend to have. And by the way, going back to Ragnar, that doesn't just have an explorer, a helicopter pad, it has a whole helicopter hangar in there with a fueling point as well to refuel the helicopter. It's just an amazing boat. I'm so excited to be going back there. Rob Saunders says, hi, David. Hi, Rob. Emanuele Di Mari. Ciao, David. I got your email, Emanuele. I just haven't had time to reply yet. So thank you very much for that. Ryan Lowy says, super yacht captain. Hey, hang on. Calm down now. What's all this? Super yacht captain is the best. He is the best. I agree. Tristan, you're great. I love what you're doing. Love your videos. And it's fantastic that you've reached 100,000 subscribers today. I found when I reached 100,000, my channel seemed to take a bit of a boost, and I'm interested to see if that happens to you, Tristan, because I'm wondering if there's something psychological that when people see a channel already has 100,000, they're more inclined to subscribe. I don't know, but I hope that happens for you too. Gabriel Zoanus, can't wait to watch the new material. Thanks for the answer. My pleasure. I'm looking forward to publishing the new material. They're moving down. Super Yacht Captain sent a load of emojis, and I've just realised they've been withheld for review. Presumably, that's it. I clicked on show so everybody can see all his emojis as he celebrates 100,000 subscribers. Moving down. Gabriel, referring to Tristan and Super Yacht Captain's channel, says he has a big giveaway as well, David. Congrats, Tristan. That's correct. And actually, I mentioned in a recent video of mine that there's the opportunity to spend a day with Tristan on board an Axopar yacht. He needs to get 10,000 likes to one of his videos, which is a video about Axopar. I'm really hoping that some of my viewers went over there and gave him a like, because I think that would be a fantastic opportunity to spend a day with him on Axopar. Actually, he was kind enough to invite me along as well. It's just, I'm not sure yet where I'll be on any particular day, and I don't want to commit to it and then find that I can't go, but I love that kind of initiative. There's another super chat from David Dillon. Thanks again, David. When talking to the seller or buyer, at what point do you have a sit down heart to heart with them and say that their price they are asking or expectations they're asking is not doable? I do that before I even sign up a central agency. I'm very clear on what I believe is a realistic expectation on price. I have no problem with asking a higher price than I think we'll get, because everybody wants a discount and you have to factor that in. But I do want the seller to be well aware of what I believe is an achievable price. And I've lost out on pitches for that, because a very common tactic with yacht brokers is that they'll go in and they'll say a price that's really much higher than what they believe and they know they can get for the yacht. But it's music to the seller's ears. It's what they want to hear, and they'll sign up with a yacht broker who believes they can get a higher value for the yacht, and then they regret it, and then they hate all yacht brokers. And it's something that's happened to me time and time again. On one occasion, on a yacht with a value of over 30 million euro, and it really did annoy me, because I know that the price that I gave was realistic, and I know that if that yacht owner had gone with me, we would have had a higher chance of selling his yacht. As it turned out, he said to me, actually, I've probably recounted this story before on the live stream, but I'll do it again. Basically, the yacht owner said to me, I need to get this sold in the next 3 months. What should I ask? I gave him an honest answer. Another broker gave him a dishonest answer. They walked away with the central agency. The yacht was on the market for 2 years, and now that particular yacht owner really doesn't want to deal with brokers, which is a crying shame. To go into more detail on that answer, you can then come to a second point. Sometimes the yacht's been on the market for a year, it's still not sold. We've tried everything we can do, and the only option is to reduce the price. I hate doing price reductions, I really do, but sometimes it's the only option. And then you need to have that heart to heart with the owner and say, look, we've done everything that we can. This is the only tool in our armory left, is to reduce the price. Sometimes the market is talking to you. and the market is just saying, we're not prepared to pay that much for a yacht, maybe because there's other yachts similar to it on the market with more distressed, more desperate sellers, and you have to wait for them to be flushed out of the market. It's before you can sell the one with the less desperate seller. As you probably know, from the videos that I've produced, at the moment I represent quite a few Mangusta yachts. I don't know how that's happened. I just seem to have a lot of Mangustas for sale, and there's are a lot of them out there on the market. My message that I always give to my clients is that all of those Mangustas, if you Google that model, Mangusta 108 for sale, Mangusta 165 for sale, Mangusta 130 for sale, the videos that I've produced are always at the top of page one of Google. So we're doing our job as brokers to give it exposure. But sometimes because there's so many of them on the market and other sellers are more desperate to get theirs sold, and they'll drop their price and drop their price and drop their price, you just have to wait for that to happen and to play out before you can get a reasonable price for their yacht. So really those heart-to-hearts, you don't want to have that conversation too often with your clients, but periodically, you have to do it. Hope that's a sufficiently thorough answer, and thanks again for the super chat. Moving down, scrolling down the questions. David Dillon says, Super Yacht Captain, hey sir, thanks for the shout out on your video released today. Well done, Tristan. I know that you do a lot of great streams. Enrique Garcia, we like to see one yacht excursions with helipad 50-meter long distance. What is your suggestion? Enrique, I've got to be honest with you, I can't think of a good suggestion, a good answer to that at the moment. 50 meters long distance with a helipad. I'd have to kind of look at the market and see what's available. At the moment, 50 meters with a helipad, nothing jumps out at me, I'm afraid. Sorry to disappoint you. Skippy says you'll have to clean the camera lens next time, but I've sorted that out now, Skippy. I hope you stuck around for me to do that. Rob Saunders, I purchased an Azimuth 46 and the port prop fell off on the sea trial. Oh my word. Oh my word. That's why you have sea trials. And I presume that you pulled out of the deal at that point. Although it doesn't always happen. A colleague of mine recently sold a yacht, very recently sold a yacht, where the rudders, I'm pretty sure one rudder fell off on the survey. And the buyer took a very pragmatic view of it. And he said, that's absolutely great, because now I'll get new rudders with the yacht. It's better that they fell off just before I buy the yacht than they fell off just after I bought the yacht. And sure enough, of course, the seller had to put his hands up and say, I'm going to have to fix this. I have no choice. And so he got his yacht with new rudders. And I love stories like that, because I love the attitude of some wealthy people who immediately see the advantage in a situation rather than throwing his toys out in the pram and walking away from the deal. He said, that's fine, put me new rudders on and I'll still take the boat. So all kinds of things happen in yachting, as if you're a yacht owner, which you clearly are, as you clearly know. Moving down, Johnny X, hello, how about if the boat is doing refit and is dry, can it be sold, or we'll have to wait for the refit to finish and to do the sea trial? Yeah, you're well advised to wait for the refit to finish and do the sea trial. Some people remarkably are not patient enough to do that, and they just want the boat and they want it now. I've recently been involved with the deal. Actually, it didn't end well because it didn't happen. The purchase didn't happen, where the buyer wanted to get involved with the refit or do all kinds of stuff. It just makes it so complicated. I didn't advise my seller to proceed. I didn't advise the buyer to go down that route. You're just better off waiting for the refit to be finished, do the sea trial, and then buy the yacht, because so much can go wrong if you do it any other way. Hope that helps, Johnny X, with your question. Chandler Bing Bong, still one of my favorite names of viewers. Howdy. Howdy right back to you, Chandler. When I'm paying £60 million for my yacht, I'd expect it to be perfecto. I've got bad news for you, Chandler. They never are. They just never are. I've been on yachts with values even higher than that, and from incredibly reputable yacht builders. And just before handover, on every single yacht in the world, just before handover, the crew are going through the yacht, finding the faults. And in defense of yacht builders, they're building a tremendously complex product to a tremendously high quality. And there are so many components from other suppliers, not just pumps and engines and washing machines and dryers and ice makers, and the list goes on to probably tens of thousands of different things. You want the yacht to be perfecto. And actually, Tristan, if Tristan's still here, he'll testify to this, that a great captain will make you think that the yacht is perfecto, because behind the scenes, the captain's getting everything fixed, everything sorted, so that the owner never has to go through the stress and the hassle of knowing what's going wrong. But on all yachts, there's always problems that need to be resolved. Mark says, hi, David. Hi, right back to you, Mark. Deltax 10 asks, what makes yachts so expensive? Well, if you watch my videos and on the occasions that I talk about engines, you'll know that MTU is a big engine manufacturer, and the popular engines on the kind of yachts that I deal with are MTU 2000, MTU 4000 series engines. They can cost $500,000 each for the engines alone. So, when you're talking about a yacht that may be 10 million, and you think that 1 million can go into the engines alone, and then of course the yacht builder has to make their margin, and you've got incredibly expensive custom cabinetry because it's made to fit into the yacht. You'd almost ask why yachts are not more expensive when you look at the man hours and the components. They are. I've said this before, and I unashamedly admit to not being particularly a yacht person, particularly, but the business of yachting is just the most fascinating thing. I just feel so lucky to be involved in the business, because it's absolutely fascinating how yachts are put together, the mentality of who buys them, the mentality of captains and people in the industry. It's absolutely fascinating. And the way a yacht is put together is one of the most fascinating things for me. Gabriel asks, you have to forgive me, Gabriel, if I don't always use your surname. I feel like I know you now on first names terms. Do people also use an MOU instead of an MOA? I presume an MOU is Memorandum of Understanding. I've heard some English people use that expression. Generally, people just call it an MOA. I've even heard people call it a MOA. MOA. Cosmic Babby, hello from quarantine in Thailand. Hi, right back to you, Cosmic Babby. I hope you're out of quarantine soon. We're slowly getting out of it here, which is great news. James Hall, hello from Invercargill, New Zealand. Isn't that where the nurse was from who treated Boris Johnson? I have a feeling it was. By the way, your Prime Minister is absolutely awesome, James. He says, hello to Tristan as well. Love both channels, but geez, 4:15 a.m. here. We'll have to do some especially late for you, James, late in our day and a little bit more decent time. Maybe me and Tristan should get together and do that, especially for our New Zealand audiences. River, hi David. What percentage of luxury yachts are purchased in cash without financing? Oof, I'd find that very difficult to answer, because we don't always know whether the owner is financed or not. They don't always involve with the broker, because we don't really need to know. They'll ask us if they need financing, and I would say amongst my inquiries, probably 30% of the inquiries ask about financing as well. And I firmly believe that the job of a yacht broker is to bring together relevant experts in every sector and not to try to be a jack of all trades. So when I get requests for financing, I put them straight onto a fantastic finance broker, Leon Batchelor, who's based in London, does an amazing job. He's always very, very responsive, and I just know he'll give them the best advice. So yeah, I would say about 30% of the inquiries I get ask for financing. That doesn't necessarily mean that's the percentage of yachts that are purchased that way. I'm working my way down. Svetlin, Tristan, Svetlin Karazov. Tristan's taking over your channel. I know. Very annoying. I'm gonna have to knuckle down and get more videos out. And one of the things I love about the fact that Tristan's there and Aquaholic is we have a healthy sense of competition between us to push our channels forward. It's a lot of fun. Ollie Skoo or Scow, Ollie, anyway, says, what about Explorer Ladasha built by Darman? I have no news on that. I think it's an amazing yacht, but I don't have any particular news on it, I'm afraid, Ollie. I do have in the back of my mind that I need to reach out to Darman and do a little bit more with them than I currently am, because I'm a massive fan of their yachts. And you know what? As a matter of fact, I was thinking today I need to decide what to do for my next vlog, and something about Amels, who, as you know, are owned by Darman, would be rather interesting. So watch this space, and thanks for the inspiration. Jeff Persh asks if there's any word on the wider 150 order fulfillments. I'm afraid not. At the moment, I don't have news from Wider. I know that they've got projects on the go. I don't have anything concrete from them just yet. So, as you know, I have a great relationship with Wider. I just don't have any latest news from them at the moment, I'm afraid. Kabir Siddiqui is having a little bit of a laugh at our expense here. I don't mind that, Kadir, that's fine. He says investing in a ship is good, which of course it's not. Well, actually, in a ship it probably is, because ship owners are very wealthy people. In a yacht, it's not a good investment. Then he says, why we should buy ship? Waste of money. I would say the word yachts, it's not a good investment if you're looking at it purely financially. A ship, on the other hand, many people are very wealthy because they bought ships and they use them for merchandise and cargo and what have you. But I think what you're talking about is yachts. But the other day, there was a fantastic interview published on LinkedIn with Martin Redmayne, who's a well-known journalist in yachting. And he said, we've got to stop saying that buying a yacht is a waste of money, because it's really not. And he made a very good point about the quality of life that wealthy people can enjoy on a yacht is really quite remarkable. And how, when you talk to yacht owners about their holiday on time, they start to glow with pleasure about the time they had with their children. They actually often forget about the yacht. They won't say, oh yes, the yacht had beautiful ebony woodwork with Vengay flooring. They won't talk about that. They'll say, my 6-year-old went on a jet ski for the first time ever. His eyes were popping out of his head. We stopped and we caught a raw octopus in Sicily and we had it to eat in the evening. And it's possibly the best experiences that you can ever have in your life on a yacht. It's the best money you can possibly spend, but don't expect to ever see that money again. It's money that you have spent to improve your life. I know that yours was a frivolous comment, but I gave it a serious answer. That is the way that we roll on the Yachts for Sale channel. Deltax tends to come back with his comment about why do they cost so much? And he says, I wonder what they put in to make it worth 30 million euro. You can't underestimate the value of the cabinetry and the machinery. I please believe me, as somebody who's worked as a yacht builder or for a yacht builder, large yachts in the 30 million range, they don't make that much margin. It's not like they're making 10 million on a 30 million euro yacht. You have to remember as well the warranty period. I always say there are certain yacht builders, every time they launch a large yacht, they have a party and balloons and pigeons and goodness knows what else celebration. And I always say you might have lost money on that yacht that you've just built. Wait for the warranty period to end, then figure out how much money you've made, then have a party, but don't do it at the launch because you haven't even sea trialed it yet. You could get an engine blow. Just a Deltax 10, for example, just on a repaint of a yacht, it can be 5 million euro to repaint a yacht. Now, to be fair on that, the people, the suppliers who did the repaint, if they make that mistake, they have to foot the bill for that. But the warranty period is colossally expensive. It can cost the shipyard millions. It's an expensive business to be in, and the yachts are very, very expensive to build. I don't feel like I've given a brilliant answer, but that's the best I can do right now. Animist Channel, that's another name I've seen on this channel before. Thank you so much for sticking around. I've seen a 50 metre with a touch and go helipad, but it's super rare and I don't remember who made it. Yeah, there are 50 metres. There are smaller yachts as well with helipads. As a matter of fact, Tristan, I don't know if he's still here, but he named a 40, I think it's a 43 metre yacht with a helipad as being one of his favourite explorer yachts. The name of the yacht escapes me, but it's one of my favourites as well. There's a fantastic yacht out there. I forget the name of it. It's a really unusual name with a helipad. So yeah, there are smaller ones out there too, but you're generally helipads, you're looking at 60 metres plus. Johnny X, who I think has the Azimuth 46. Thanks, David, reading the refit now. I hope that goes well for you, Johnny X. And by the way, the propeller falling off is a bad misfortune, but it's not necessarily, as we discussed, it's not necessarily a reason to pull out of the sale. It's pretty discouraging when that happens, but it's something that can certainly be fixed. Hen 5000, electric yachts need fewer maintenance because there is no engine. I'm wondering to what extent this lowers the running costs. Could you maybe compare a silent yacht with a similar traditional yacht? I'm looking more and more into silent yachts, and actually I'm going there on Tuesday to film the next in a series, and I'll certainly look into that matter because it's something I want to educate myself on more too, because electric yachts are emerging. But I'm going to whiz off to the super chat because it's a super chat. Rudy Degelt, thank you so much, first of all, Rudy, for sticking around and for the super chat. David, the new Beyond is awesome, but I wonder if the reality is comparable to 100% of the project, if there are modifications during construction. Particularly with Bonetti, they are very, very, very cautious about releasing information and especially the renderings and the images of the Beyond until they're absolutely sure that's what they're going to look like. So as far as the aesthetics are concerned, I'm confident that that is exactly what the Beyond will look like once it's launched and delivered. However, modifications during construction are very, very normal, partly because new technology comes out, new ideas come out, and you don't want to have the project too set in stone to the expense of being able to improve it along the way. Also, to my shame, I can't tell you if the Beyond's already in construction. I think it is. And I can't tell you if the first one's already been sold, although I should know that because I'm in contact with Bonetti all the time. But let's say, for example, the first one's already in construction, already sold. The owner himself may ask for certain modifications. And since the Beyond is in steel and aluminium, it's also easier to make certain modifications to it. With composite hulls, everything comes out of a mold, and so you really can't change the way it looks. But with steel and aluminium, you can extend things, you can change the look a little bit. However, I think Bonetti will be very, very resistant to making aesthetic changes to the yacht. I think it's a great product, I really do, and I enjoyed putting together that video very, very much because I was learning more and more about the yacht as I did it. And just some of the ideas are so very, very clever. In fact, again, just to reference Super Yacht Captain again, he left a comment on that video saying that his yacht is also 37 meters, but in terms of volume, they've got so much more volume in the Benetti Beyond. And again, Tristan, if you're still listening, it would be good if you and I could go together to take a look at that project. And by the way, I'm not doing that to try to sell you one. I'm doing that because you're a mate, and it'd just be interesting to get your perspective on that particular yacht. Working my way down the questions. This is a good question from Rob Saunders. Do you think that the 183 meter Rev is a super yacht or research vessel? It's actually both, isn't it? It's my understanding from what I've read is it's being built to super yacht quality. Now, super yacht standards mean, for example, a very, very high level of finishing on the paint on the hull. It means that the interior cabinetry will be incredibly expensive and very, very beautiful. It means that there'll be beautiful polished stainless steel on it. I had a look at on board the 104 meter Cleven yacht Ulysses when it was still called Ulysses, and for me that was not a super yacht because it had painted handrails like you'd see on a ship. The interiors were lovely. I mean, they were really lovely. They were five-star hotel lovely, but they weren't super yacht quality in my opinion. I felt that was a wonderful yacht to buy and to use for your family, but it was there on the border of what's really considered a super yacht. Rev, on the other hand, as I understand it, will have super yacht quality finishing to it. I may be proved wrong when it's launched, but that's my understanding at the moment. Deltax 10 for 60 million, it better have 24 karat gold trim. You could have 24 karat gold taps. I've seen that, faucets, as you call them in the States. I've seen gold trimming on yachts. I've seen all kinds of crazy stuff on yachts. SFL Spotter says 60 million is nothing in today's standards in cost. There are certainly yachts a lot more expensive than that, but for 60 million you can buy something pretty special, I have to tell you. Andrea McCutcheon, I'm waiting for yourself, Tristan and Nick to film a full program together. That's not out of the question at all. We're in contact all the time. As you can imagine, lockdown has made it impossible to do anything. I don't see that happening this year, but I do see it happening in the future. Zai Sai says hi. Hi, right back to you, Zai. Hi, Zai. Deltax 10 again says, okay, I guess I could build my own sailing yacht a lot cheaper. It's definitely an interesting industry. Yeah, you know, a lot of people do try to build their own yachts, and some succeed, but it's a lot tougher than you may think. And you also need to always think about resale value, because a one-off yacht that doesn't have a brand behind it is quite difficult to resell. Gabriel Zoanos, do brokers have penalties that they have to pay to the seller if they don't deliver on what they promised? Keep using my first name. Hope to go for a beer one day. That would be nice. Even 2 beers, Gabriel. I've never heard of that happening. I've never heard of a broker having to pay a penalty. I suppose it depends on what they promise, really, isn't it? I'm always very cautious on what I promise because, you know, all that a broker's job really is to do is to find the right yacht for the right person for the right price and make it all happen. We don't, as brokers, we don't have any obligation regarding the seaworthiness of the vessel. That's very much more down to the surveyor. The surveyor has to have very, very serious insurance because they are the ones going on board and saying this is seaworthy, this is not seaworthy. I think they have a much greater liability than a yacht broker. Although having said that, I've spoken to clients quite often and advise strongly against looking at a certain yacht, which I just don't feel is good at all. But you know, honestly, there's no instances I can think of where any penalties have been paid. Oh, thank you, Sasha. Sasha Cohen, T6. That is the name of the yacht that I was trying to think of. 50-meter Explorer yacht with helipad. Try the T6 flight ship. It even has a concealed heli hangar with fueling station. Actually, that's the one I was thinking of. It's not 50 meters. It's a little bit smaller. I think it's 43. And it's a remarkable yacht. What a great yacht. I'd love to do a video of that yacht. See, I'm transitioning from broker to YouTuber here. One time I would have said I would love to sell that yacht. Now I'm saying I'd love to video it. What's happening to me? Zai says, have you had your nose broken? No, it's an operation I had a few weeks ago for a basal cell carcinoma. It's now been removed. Today I got the stitches out, and tonight actually I'm taking this off. And God help you when you see my nose without this on it next week. Dr. No-No, is that really the name of your channel? Fantastic. I was selling a yacht called Dr. No-No. Hi, David from Germany. How stable are yachts? I've been on little boats and cruise liners, but never on a yacht. So how much do you feel the ocean on a yacht? Thank you for opening this can of worms, Dr. No-No, because I have to say that I get a lot of comments on my channel from people who know what a zero-speed gyro stabilizer is and expect it to perform miracles. Now, yachts, modern yachts, usually have what's called a gyro stabilizer. And so what happens when a yacht, you can see my hands, what happens when a yacht's at sea is the sea's moving and this causes this movement to the boat. So the boat's actually doing this and that and rocking. And, you know, it's not great, but you're on a boat. You know, you expect it to rock when you're on a boat. And if you really don't like it, then probably yachts and boats and ships are not for you if it's unbearable, and that's absolutely fine. What a gyro stabilizer does is it reduces the rocking by quite a lot, but the boat's still going to move up and down. That's just the law of nature. It moves up and down and it rocks a little bit. Now, I can't count the amount of comments on my channel saying, well, hasn't it got stabilizers? It's moving, it's rocking. Well, of course it is. It's on the sea. It will. All that the gyro stabilizers will do is it will reduce that rocking, but it's impossible to completely eliminate it unless you grounded the yacht and it's stuck in a sandbank or something. Whilst it's on the ocean stationary, it's going to move with the waves. That's just what happens. So if you really don't like that, actually, I think I mentioned this in a previous live stream. There's a fantastic channel. I haven't watched it for a while, but it's called Producer Michael, and it's a television producer. I'm pretty sure that this guy introduced Beavis and Butthead to television screens and made a fortune out of it. He has a great YouTube channel, Producer Michael. I recommend that you take a look at him. And somebody asked him once what the biggest waste of money he ever had. I mean, this is a guy with a private jet, with incredible cars, an incredible house in Beverly Hills. And somebody asked him what the biggest waste of money he ever had was. And he bought a yacht, and I'm pretty sure it was a Benetti for 30 million, took it out to sea, got seasick, took it back to port and sold it. And of course, he lost his shirt because yachts depreciate quite badly, and he wasn't able to get the price. And I'm pretty sure he bought it brand new as well. So, you know, long and short is if you don't like the yacht rocking and you get seasick, then I'd stay off of boats and yachts altogether. Hope that answers your question, Dr. No-No. And if you haven't already seen it, I've made a video about a yacht called Dr. No-No. Do check it out. Gabriel. Just lost you for a moment, Gabriel. What about a video about tenders and toys? Some are big enough to be standalone yachts or weekend yacht, if I may call them that. Yeah, I've done 1 or 2 videos about tenders and toys. I'd like to do more. At the moment, I have so much going on that I don't know when that will be. And I'm having to literally restructure how I do my YouTube channel, make it into a small business with more people to help me, because the demand, especially from yacht builders, is colossal. And I'm in conversations with Northrop & Johnson as well to radically increase the amount of videos that I produce with them. And fundamentally, I'm a broker and I want to do films about yachts that are for sale, and the channel's called Yachts for Sale. So I'm trying to structure my channel so that I've got people to help me with the yacht builders, and I can focus on doing much more walkthrough videos of yachts. I'm really hopeful that within 2 to 3 months that will be up and running, and you'll see a load more walkthrough videos. Svetlin Karazov. Gabriel had some good ideas for episodes like last week. Toys and accessories are good business for a broker, I believe. Yes and no. As far as them being good business for a broker, I've never got involved with tenders and toys. Some do. The problem comes when you take as much time selling a tender and a toy as you would selling a yacht. And from a business perspective, to me, that doesn't make much sense to do that. Oh, this is interesting. Vincent Malloy. Hi there from Eswatini. I don't know where that is. How exciting. I'm going to Google map that afterwards. Love your channel. Thank you very much, Vincent. Thank you very much indeed. Unless that's the name of a yacht. Could be. Eswatini could be the name of a yacht. Dr. Nana again says, thanks, Animus channel. Can you give me some evidence? Are there yachts that are as stable as a cruise line or even more stable? I would doubt it. I would doubt that a yacht's as stable as a cruise liner, because a cruise liner's got so much weight in it, and the whole shape of a cruise liner is built for stability. There are some remarkably stable yachts out there. I would doubt that they're as stable as a cruise liner, but that's not my speciality. I'm a marketeer. I'm not a stability expert. Ollie asks if I'd ever look at starting my own brokerage company. No, because the headaches of owning a brokerage company are absolutely colossal. And I love the camaraderie of being a part of a brokerage company. Northrop and Johnson, one of the things that attracted me to it was that camaraderie. And I have to say, as time goes on, I'm enjoying it more and more and more. We've got some really exciting stuff going on in the company now, and I just love being a part of it. So I don't see myself ever starting my own brokerage company. Owen asks if there's superstition in renaming boats once launched. I believe there is, but I couldn't tell you any more than that. Most people just rename them. I mean, it must be one of the biggest joys in the world when you buy a yacht to put your own, whatever name you want. I mean, a lot of people sort of give it a name associated with their wife because it's a nice romantic thing to do, and it keeps your wife off your back a little bit because you can say, you know, the boat's named after you. I'm going out for a beer. Animus channel is continuing a conversation with Dr. Nono. That's absolutely great. And I'll look forward to reading your comments in the comment section afterwards. Love that. That's fantastic. Jose Corbalan. Hi, David. Hi, Jose. What if money is transferred to the stakeholder account before the M.O.A is properly signed? What is the stakeholder's responsibility in this particular case? Thank you. Good question. Happened to me as recently as 2 weeks ago. And I get a lot more excited by seeing the money in the account than I do by the contract signed, because, well, for obvious reasons, the moment that somebody's put their money down, that's a far greater sign of commitment than signing a piece of paper. It's actually shocking how many people will sign an M.O.A and then you never hear from them again. You never see the money. There's absolutely nothing wrong with putting the money down before the M.O.A is signed. A lot of people do that. The stakeholder holds onto it. And then, as has happened sadly to me recently, and then if the deal falls apart, the stakeholder just gives the money back. It's as simple as that. Gabriel again. No worries, can go bonkers on beer. I'm trying not to go bonkers on beer anymore, but thanks for the offer. Charles Fossorier, what a great name, Charles. What's your opinion on Project Opus Redwood? That's the next big Lursen. You know, with Lursen, they are obligated to keep their cards very close to their chest, and Redwood's no exception to that. And when I went to Lursen to film, and if you haven't seen those videos, just do a search on my channel of Lursen. I've done a couple of videos with them now. Loveliest people. Everywhere we pointed the camera, we were told, so sorry you can't point it there, so sorry you can't point it there. So it's the yachts get bigger and bigger and bigger. The confidentiality issues get bigger and bigger and bigger too. So I know very little about Redwood, apart from I know it's a Lursen, and I know it's very, very large. And I can tell you as well that Lursen currently have over 10 large yachts in production, which is stunning when you think about it. That, you know, the average value is in the hundreds of millions, and they have 10 of them in production. It's the most remarkable place to go and to see yachts being built. It's really, really remarkable. I wish I could have filmed some of the things that I saw there. I walked into one of their sheds, and you just are blown away by the size of the yacht that's there in front of you. Actually, it's usually at a lower level in a massive pit, because then they fill that pit with water to launch, to let the yacht float out. I wish I was given free rein to film at Lurson, but that will never happen because of all the confidentiality. Not Lurson's fault, I have to say. It's just the way the industry works. SFL Spotters says, did you see the Sunseeker yacht that was seized at Flibbs by US Customs? I didn't. That's news to me. It happens from time to time, sadly. Silter 04, I know this story from producer Michael. He used the yacht later on and he used a party boat in the harbour. Yeah, honestly, if you've never watched his channel, I absolutely love it. I mean, the guy's fantastic. He's YouTube gold. Vincent Malloy says Eswatini is the old Swaziland. I didn't know that. Thank you very much. Spectrum Ball. I'll take this, and then we're going to have to... I'll take this and one other one, and then we'll have to close it down, I'm afraid, because I've just seen the time, and I need to pick up my son, who's out with his friends. Hi, David. Question about naming. Who names a yacht when it first comes out of the yard? That's a good question. The yard do. I've been involved in meetings where we've decided on what the name is. It might be the CEO of the company. Sometimes he'll let one in the company choose it. Sometimes it's the commercial department. Personally, I think it should be the sales department, because if they've got to sell the yacht, the name's going to be pretty important. Andrea McCutcheon says you can rename a yacht boat if you're a new owner, or rename it while it's out of the water, so it's relaunched with a new name. That's what I did. Yeah, that sounds about right. Basically, with a name, you need to match the name with the registry. So you need to look at the port of registry and their register of names. You have to pick one that's not on that registry. I'm going to do one more. Vincent, I'm going to dodge your question because I don't know the answer to it. Yeah, I do know the answer to it. Are all the fast yachts driven by Hamilton jets as opposed to maybe variable pitch prop? What's the difference? Variable pitch prop isn't particularly for fast yachts. You may be thinking of surface drives for fast yachts. And from what I've seen, generally the larger fast yachts have jets, which tend to be KMY jets. And the smaller ones, up to about 100 feet, will have surface props, such as Arneson or Top Drive seems to be the popular one now. Final question. Oh, what a great name. What an awful name. It's Me the Herpes. Who on earth told you to use that as a name on YouTube? I'm guessing that you're quite young to put that as your name. I have one question. Do they still build Manchester 165? They do. They still build it. It's a great yacht. I'm pretty sure the one they have in construction at the moment is still for sale. So if you want to call me, it's Me the Herpes, I'd be very happy to sell it for you. So I'm not young. I just lost a bet. I'm going to answer one more, and then I'm definitely going to call it a day. Edward Mulayev. Hi, David. I saw a video on hydraulic beds for yachts with sensors that are stable during rough seas. I've seen that as well. They're really cool. How common often are yacht owners opting into installing them, considering most people get seasick? They're still a rarity. They are still a rarity, and that's surprising, actually, if you think about it. I can only imagine that it's very expensive or something, and it just adds more to the price of the yacht. Thank you all so much for joining me on this live stream. It's been an absolute blast. The whole live stream will be recorded and left on my channel. Tomorrow, I'm publishing a vlog about Bilgin yachts, so look out for that, because Bilgin yachts are producing some amazing yachts, and I've got some great images, great information. Next week I am flying back from Holland on Friday after filming Ragnar, and I'm not sure what time I get back. If I get back in time to do a live stream, I will. If not, I'll do it another time. And if you watch the community tab on my channel, some people don't even know it's there. A lot of people don't know it's there. If you go onto the homepage of my channel, you'll see a tab that says community. I'll put a little announcement there to tell you when the next live stream will be, what it will be about. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you again soon, and have a great weekend, everyone.